Texas Congressman Al Green is trying to stop Trump, like a lot of other people, right? The longtime Democrat is once again calling for President Trump to be impeached. He filed new articles this week saying that flat out, Trump is unfit to occupy the Oval Office. You might remember Green made headlines earlier this year when he was kicked out of Trump's State of the Union. The congressman says Trump's behavior is authoritarian and dangerous, accusing him of ignoring court rulings, disrespecting the separation of powers, and acting like the rules don't apply. He is waiting for a full-blown crisis. His words, tanks rolling down the streets are not an option. Now, not everyone is on board, all right? But Green was recently censured by the House. Even some Democrats voted against him. But he says he would do it all again. Dr. Malveaux, what are your thoughts about this impeachment? I mean, what he is saying is true. The letter of the law is not being followed. Separation of the powers, separation of all of these executive branch, you know, a lot of what's in the Constitution just not being honored one amendment at a time.
Yeah, I appreciate Congressman Green so much for his work, for his advocacy, and for his audacity. I'm happy that he's introducing these articles of impeachment, but we have to be honest. This is a foolhardy effort. The Congress is majority Republican. They might cross a line on Medicaid. They might cross a line on substance. They're not going to cross a line on impeachment, even though they know better. They know better, but they're not going to do better. So we have to do our job, you know, as African-American commentators, African-American activists, artists who are activists. Our job is to continue to lift the brother up. It may be a fool's errand because we know we don't have the numbers, but we can't let this nonsense go away. We can't let people think that it's normal for a person who's been elected president of the United States to just overlook the courts, overlook the people, just do whatever he wants to do. And he pretty much said, I'm going to do what I want to do. And nobody's prepared to check him. So bravo to Congressman Green for checking.
So Representative Shannon, I am hearing the same thing that Dr. Malveaux is saying. Listen, this probably won't happen. So the people have to depend on themselves, create community, do better, go out there and fight for justice on your own. But is there something else that we should all be doing at this time? Because it seems as though, I'm not going to say nothing's being done, but we certainly want more to be done. And we're not seeing what is being done in the way that we want.
Sure. So there is a lot that can be done. I mean, I think you're right that, and Dr. Malveaux sort of said this too, which is that Congressman Green is taking the right approach. What kind of frustrates me is that too often Black seniors in particular who have the lived life experience to know when something is about to get bad usually get cast aside as people who are blowing things up and not to be listened to, when that's just really not the case. He's absolutely right in what he filed in these papers, particularly the point where he hones in about that we're not far from seeing tanks coming down the street. He's right. I was talking in an interview last week about how the new executive order that Trump signed, basically, it says, and this is not a summary, these are the words in the executive order, it's calling for aggressive policing of communities. It's calling for lawyers who work for the government to do pro bono work, which means represent for free cops who have been charged with misconduct, talks about jailing more elected officials who basically disagree with Trump, even including those who want to move forward with DEI. So this isn't, so he's, you know, Congressman Green is not blowing anything out of proportion. This is like really what is in front of us. I would say what people can do is, because we see that Democrats have too often sort of sat back and said, oh, you know, everybody's blowing things out of proportion, it's not that bad. What everybody can do is reach out to their elected official to say, listen, I want you to take this seriously and you need to be following Congressman Green's lead. That is the thing that's going to make a difference, because at the end of the day, elected officials worry about getting reelected. And many of them, particularly when they don't come from an activist background, are going to see to wherever the most pressure is from. So if they see, if their constituents are telling them you need to get behind Congressman Green and take all of this seriously, and we believe that, you know, things are really at this level, that something must be done and we are in dire circumstances, then that is something that is going to give Representative Green more energy, more fuel to really push this thing forward.
Dr. Dibinga, how does the sound of impeachment strike you?
It sounds great.
Look, sounds great in theory, but in terms of the real application of it, how does it really sit with you?
Well, it's not going to happen, but the fact of the matter is today's the 100th birthday of Malcolm X, and this is a man who brought a case to the United Nations to argue for the rights of Black people in America. I mean, he helped globalize the plight of our people and connected us with an international community of people. Did he believe in his heart that he was going to go to this trial and he was going to win and that everything was going to change? Probably not, but the effort matters, which is why we still celebrate him today. History is watching. What's going to happen 30, 40, 50 years from now where, our grandchildren or great-grandchildren or whoever, our great nieces or whatever are reading these books and seeing and see nothing. See no impeachment efforts were made. No new voting efforts were made. I believe, honestly, that what's going to happen is that he's going to keep overstepping. And at the very least, more Democrats are going to join, even if it's not a lot, more are going to join what he's doing. And by the time we come to the midterms, there'll probably be a larger groundswell of people calling for impeachment, even though it still won't happen under these Republicans. But this is the time for Democrats to show spine. This is for them to show, backbone. So many of them are just focusing so much on their local communities, which I get it. All politics is local, but there are real things that are happening in this country. And he's only expanding his dictatorial mentality even more. People have to stand up. People have to speak up. And at the end of the day, I'd be calling them out if they didn't say something. So I applaud him for doing that. And he needs to continue to do that so people can follow his example.
Representative Shannon, can we talk about the separation of powers for one moment? I mean, this is why we have the Constitution, but you get a Supreme Court ruling 9-0, it's ignored. How, in your estimation, do you think that is happening? And is there anything that you think might be going on behind closed doors maybe we don't know about, out here on these streets that's going on? Maybe something's being worked on that maybe we don't know about in order to stop this, because this is just unprecedented all around.
Right. So, one other comment on Representative Green, people can't disregard him. He was the one, he doesn't get enough credit for it, but he was the one who laid the foundation for impeachment the first time Trump served, and he did get impeached. He got impeached twice. And it was Representative Green who was the first person to realize the harm and say to everybody, I'm filing impeachment papers. So I wouldn't just chalk it up to, oh, this can't happen. It's a drumbeat that you have to beat. It's a conversation that you have to keep rolling, that you get more and more people to understand why you're saying what you're saying as it relates to impeachment. And, more folks than what you thought may jump on. Trump's already having problems with Republicans who are breaking ranks, even over trying to pass this budget bill. That was a fight. The first time that they tried to do it, they couldn't even get it done. Then they did get it done the second time, but hasn't cleared the Senate. So to answer your second question, I think with the separation of powers and him just ignoring the Constitution, this is literally what is the difference between having a democracy and having a dictatorship. It's very dangerous because I tell people this all the time. When you have a set of rules that people, and we know that things are not fair. There are many things, take the justice system, for example, especially as it relates to Black folks. The rules are not often followed. But when you have somebody who is president, who is completely saying, I don't follow any of the rules, I am the final say so, the courts don't matter and nothing else matters, which is essentially what he's doing when he just decides to ignore court orders. What you have is, if you don't have a system that people are willing to adhere to make decisions as a society, you know what comes next? Making decisions by whoever has the most force in the streets. So I think that the issue here, and this is why Representative Green is waving the flag now to say, listen, something needs to be done, is that you don't want to wait until you have, decisions being made by force in the streets, because that is what breaks apart countries. So we don't need to wait to that point. Democrats don't need to wait to that point before they feel some urgency to do something. Now is the time to be having conversations with constituents. Now is the time for constituents to be having conversations with their elected officials, and for Democrats to be publicly getting behind Representative Green and talking about how we're in such a dangerous place. Because you may think only Democrats listen to those who are in elected office if a Democrat is speaking, but it's not true. I mean, people, even we have to listen to people that we don't agree with all day long. And sometimes people realize what you may think is a broken clock is right twice a day.
You got that right. Dr. Dubinga, I want to close this segment out with you. Listen, before the president was elected, I think that there were some things, that we've been seeing, we could go through the gamut, that people thought would never happen. And I'm wondering your estimation, what are some things to come that you think could possibly happen in terms of the extreme that people need to open their eyes about and not think, oh, that just happens in some science fiction movie?
Yeah, I mean, people have to be mindful of the fact that we are living in a dictatorship now. And the fact of the matter is, dictatorships across the globe, they never had everybody under the thumb of the leader. It was the people who were the dissenters. There were people who were walking around just fine in Nazi Germany, who were walking around fine in Rwanda and Congo and other places around the world. They're unaffected. But people have to understand that it's just a matter of time before it comes to you. So what I can envision happening when Representative Shannon was talking about that police order earlier, the language that he was using in there was to unleash them, right? You know, to set them loose. And so you also see that the DNI, Gabby Tulsi Gabbard, you know, that she's trying to have her team rework intelligence reports to get them to say what they want to say. Because once you can put out an intelligence report that's saying we're under threat, we're under invasion from any group, all the gloves are off. I mean, he's actually looking at putting out executive orders that can target nonprofits and call them terrorists. So like the Boys and Girls Club could be labeled a terrorist organization. And again, once the language is there, anything becomes possible. So I envision detention. We're already seeing that of American citizens. I'm seeing people getting expelled from their communities, from their homes. We're seeing these things happening already on a small scale. They're just going to be enlarged. And so really at the end of the day, people are going to have their incomes, you know, targeted because he controls the IRS. Like everything that happens overseas can happen. And here's the last point I'll say. Candace, is that Trump is doing all of this and he has not fired a single shot yet. People need to be careful because when he's doing all of this now and what's happening with abductions and things of immigrants and the like, it is violent, don't get me wrong, but the bullets haven't started flying yet. And he's just setting and prime tuning it up for those things to start happening as well. People should not be surprised if we start seeing blood in the streets defying this man.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.